we're back, and let's continue where we're going off again. The Mega Championship. Talked about at the time, it was a great moment for TNA because again, you had another championship from another organization, let alone another country at the time. Uh, Also winning their Rey de Reyes, which literally translates to King of Kings, their tournament in 2004, which for those, the tournament has changed over the years. Uh, it was consisted of four-way elimination matches, and it's changed. It's an actual fucking tournament. Um, and the concept of this is the winner of this tournament usually becomes a main eventer. It's not Money in the Bank, but it's how tournaments should be really used. And there also is a Rey de Reyes championship, but that's a different thing. However, the winner of this tournament does not go all empty-handed. They get a fucking sword. So Jeff Jarrett somehow in his house has a fucking sword. But yeah, that's a thing. I just wanted to go over that real quickly as well. But for the CWA, the Continental Wrestling Association, which basically was Memphis Wrestling for the longest time before the USWA came along, there's a lot, and it's a lot to go over. Thankfully, I have my notes here. 4 times the AWA Southern Tag Team Champions, which at the time the CWA had a relationship with the AWA, which would include the AWA Heavyweight Champion, who would mostly be Nick Bockwinkel, coming in to face Jerry Lawler in main events when they needed to bring the houses up a little bit, and to make that prophecy of Jerry Lawler being a world champion, bringing a world championship to Memphis. He's done that. Of course, speaking of Jerry did that so many years, trying to bring the NWA World Title to Memphis and preferably give it to Lawler. But that didn't happen, so the AWA title was pretty much the next best thing, because the WWF, I wasn't going to let that fucking happen. And then eventually happened with the AWA title, and subsequently made the USWA title what it is, but we'll get to that in a little bit, and why that is. But again, a relationship with the AWA, so they had the Southern Tag titles, and the Southern Tag titles in Memphis Wrestling basically were the tag titles in Memphis. Besides, another title that we'll go over a little bit briefly. But, basically, if you were the Southern Tag Champions, you would have a shot at the World Tag Team Champions, either in the NWA or in the AWA. Or if you were a champion in Memphis at any time, in any of the promotions, you basically had a shot at the World Champion in your pocket whenever you wanted it. Preferably if you were a main champion, like the Southern Heavyweight Champion, or the even the international title holder, or even, like I said, the Southern Tag titles. If you're a champion, you had a lot of stroke in Memphis Wrestling, like it or not. The CWA Heavyweight title, and of course he held the Southern Tag titles 4 times. 3 times with Billy Travis, or might better be known as Billy Joe Travis, and Pat Tanaka, who some people may know better from Bad Company in the AWA, or probably not as aged well, but the Orient Express in the WWF with Kato. One-time holder of the CWA Heavyweight title, 2-time holder of the CWA/AWA International Tag titles. And again, this was another relationship with the AWA, and it was just the second tag title. If you were the International Tag Champion, you may get a shot at the AWA Tag Champion, but you'd have to beat the Southern Champions first if you wanted that. And of course, it didn't last long, but he did hold it twice, ironically with both members of the Orient Express, Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond, who was under the mask of Kato. The NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Championship, and of course the CWA was a part of the AWA for a while, a championship that eventually was merged with the international title and the Southern Heavyweight title to make the CWA Heavyweight Championship. But, it was one of the main titles in Memphis Wrestling at the time. But when the NWA got rid of, I wouldn't say necessarily get rid of Memphis as a territory, but the NWA wasn't doing so well, so that title didn't last long. So he did hold it 5 times, though, which is a great accomplishment. Did win 2 Southern Tag Championship tournaments for the AWA, both with Billy Joe Travis, once in November of 1986, and again in July in 1987. For NWA Cyberspace, and this is a very interesting promotion, because, you know, there were some wrestlers in TNA that were also in this, and NWA, it was really deactivated in 2007. It really wasn't, it was a decent territory, but not really, you know, it did have that famous promo with Lex Luger, with the shirt being too tight and all that shit, but nonetheless, Jeff Jarrett did hold their heavyweight title from that. From the Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling, he held their United States Championship. For Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the feud of the year in 1982 with Jerry Lawler in a tag team match with the Moondogs, and that was a great fucking feud. The Moondogs basically were coming in from Paul Lee, not the Nature Boy Paul Lee, but a different Paul Lee. It was just basically the handler of the Moondogs, where they would basically kill people with anything they got their hands on. And of course, Lawler, being the guy of Memphis, had Jeff Jarrett and several others at the time, and it was a great thing. He even had women involved, because there was a female Moondog, apparently, which I don't remember much of, but it happened, so I'm not going to doubt it. The most inspirational wrestler of the year in 2007, which, oh yes, his wife fucking died. That's what happened, yeah. And I hate thinking like that, but that's what happened. Moving on, was the ranked number 5 in the PWI 500 in 2000, in the PWI 500 in 2000, ranked number 5, ranked 121 in the PWI Years Edition 2003, and in the same edition was ranked 78 in the top 100 tag teams with Jerry the King Lawler. For River City Wrestling, the Tennessee version of their heavyweight champion, and he's the current title holder of that title, so he probably bring some recognition into that title in the Hall of Fame if he still holds it at that time. For TNA. And now we can talk about what we were going to talk about earlier, but in a little bit.